Hey guys, what's up? Marko here, and today we're going to talk about the 2016 and 17 Les Paul Standard and do a little review on this beautiful and gorgeous instrument. Before I start, I just wanted to use this opportunity to say thank you so much for all the nice feedback on my other videos and reviews, and especially from you guys on the Les Paul group on Facebook. You guys have been super awesome, and as you know, I'm recording a little instrumental album to come out in the fall, and you guys have been super kind to let me post some pictures on there, and been just a great group. You know, there's nothing better than, one of the few great things about a social site is that you can actually connect with people you love that share the same passions. Before I start, just remember, this is all very subjective. I don't work for any magazine or nothing. I just love music. I love guitars, and this is a guitar I bought, oh my goodness, about a month ago. I have another one on the way. For you who haven't seen it, I made a review on the Classic as well. And you know, I talk a lot. If you just want to know what they sound like, you're probably better served watching a guitar magazine review, but I just love to talk about them, and as usual we'll go through everything this great guitar comes with, and you know, plug it in at the end and just kind of see what it sounds like. If you obviously already own one of these standards, you know, maybe you'll get something out of this. This is probably more for people who are considering. The reason why I say 2016 and 17, this is a 16. I have a 17 coming here, and a 2017 coming in a few days as well, Heritage Cherry, because I want to change the pickups on it. We'll get to that, into that why in a second. This is a Honeyburst 2016 standard. It is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. For you who know, obviously you know that they made changes for 2016 after the little off year in 2015. But it's all good now, and what they're doing now is unbelievable, and I'm hooked to Gibson like I've never been before. I say that 2016 and 17 are the same because they really are. You know, for 2017, my understanding is that they changed this, which is 25% acid metal, to fully aluminum, which saves you like 20 grams. And they changed the solution a little bit of the gloss, but I went to the store and I couldn't tell a difference whatsoever. So I think those changes were really made just for the sake of saying, you know, hey, you have to improve the instruments a little bit. But the reality is, and you know, maybe disagree, but from my personal impressions over the last few weeks, or months I should say, is that there's absolutely zero difference whatsoever between a 2016 and 17. The reason why I bring this up is because a 2017 is $2,800, 27 and change, and the 2016s, they now dropped to 22. You can get this for under $2,000 out the door from dealers right now. If you're ordering like I do, I live in Los Angeles, but I order from Sweetwater, and so when they ship it, there's no tax. So I mean, again, I'm going to sound repetitive, just like with the Classic, but guys, I got this basically for $100 more out the door than I got the Classic out the door. And for you to get this caliber of instrument for under $2,000, to me, is just stupid. That just doesn't happen where I come from. So, and obviously you can tell why people are so addicted to them, because, I mean, look at this thing. I will put this next to my PRS Custom 24 any day, and I can tell you right now, my PRS has been in the case for the last few weeks. I honestly forgot I own it. This is always what I thought Gibson to be. And obviously the Honeyburst is one of the most gorgeous finishes. Of course, I'm being fully subjective here. I mean, they're all, I mean, listen, if you have unlimited funds, you're gonna have one of any kind. And if you happen not to be part of the Les Paul owners group on Facebook, go join. There's like 18,000, 19,000 members, and some of the pictures you see on there. I mean, you know, especially from the people that own 20, 25 of these and they post these family pics. It's unbelievable. So this is a honeyburst. It is stunning. It is gorgeous. It is just one of those things you look at that you just cannot put down. I mean, I'm looking at it right there in my rack, and I'm just like, I want to just keep picking it up. You know what I mean? However, maybe if you are somebody who can decide between a standard and a classic, this might be maybe helpful to you, I hope, because they're very different guitars. They're slightly built different. I will go as far as to say that there's a slight difference in quality as well. You know, obviously the pickups, the engine of the car is completely different. We also have coil splits here, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's just first go through the case and kind of see how this instrument ships, and of course then we'll get to the playability and my opinions, and hopefully we'll have some fun. And if you're considering, if you want to save yourself the next 20 minutes, I can tell you right now, just go buy it. I mean, you're not gonna, I mean, regret isn't even the word I would use. You're probably gonna, actually you will regret, you're probably gonna regret not having bought it sooner. And again, it's no secret, I wasn't a big Gibson fan for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Now I'm like doing an album which 80% is recorded on Les Pauls. In my video, there's gonna be nothing but Les Pauls. It's unbelievable the value you get for the money. And of course, if you, like me, love buying things that are made in the US, which, you know, I support, and of course, given the chance, I like to do. Let's have a look first in the case, what it comes with, for you who don't know, and then we'll plug it in and have some fun with the sound. And you know, as you can tell, I can't stop talking because I just want to have it in the frame, and I'm looking at it while I'm talking to you about it, and I just can't get over how beautiful this instrument is. So let's check it out. When the guitar arrives, this is basically what you're gonna get. Of course, always a great day when you open the front door and FedEx drops one of these boxes off. So it's very tightly packed, of course, with the logo, and obviously no one is confused what's inside. Once you take it out of the box and get rid of the bubble wrap, you're left with this beautiful brown case. If you owned Gibsons before, you know that we're all complete junkies for the way it smells inside, which is probably not the healthiest thing to inhale, but there's a certain vanilla scent to it that transfers to the guitar, and even when you play it, sometimes on stage, it's that strong that you can actually still smell it. You open the case. For most of you who owned Gibsons before, this is not going to be anything new, but for first-time buyers, you're just greeted with a very high-quality case and a very protective case too. These, much like a Les Paul, probably have a little bit more character and look better when they're a little bit beat up. I know some people treat these guitars as furniture pieces. Rest assured that it's no secret what my opinion is. These guitars are meant to be played, and the more beat up they look, the more broken in they are, the more I personally love them. When you open the little pocket case here, you have a little bag and some pictures, and of course the humidity bag. So let's see what that's all about. So inside the wrap here, you have, of course, your wrenches and the rod adjuster. You have the manual. I think it comes with all Les Paul models. Remember that some of the lower priced Les Pauls do not come with the case, they come with the gig bag. My understanding is they all come with the warranty card and the manual. What's really cool is you have a handwritten inspection card here, which is really cool. It's kind of cool, you know, to see the guy hand signed it. And sometimes that's more reserved for custom guitars. Well, this actually is. I mean, if you think about it, Les Paul Standard is I mean, an expensive guitar, and it should be considered. So this kind of gives you a little bit of a individuality to it, a little bit of a custom feel to it. What's really cool is they include a picture of your guitar on the final assembly line, I guess before it is put in the case and actually boxed up. Now, interesting, notice this. Compared to a few years ago, the pick guard is not on the guitar. And that is a major change compared to the way they used to come years ago. Now, if you buy the traditional model, the classic model, and I talk about it in my other review, the pick guard is drilled in. Interesting that on the standard of all guitars, they now leave it as an option. Now, in the high performance model, it's all optional. You just kind of click the pick guard off, but it's never drilled in. The standard actually used to be the traditional model, and because they kind of evolved the standard, now the traditional is called the traditional, even though really this guitar should be the traditional. However, the traditional is the one that's not weight relief. This has a modern weight relief, and actually, now that I think of it, that's something I didn't mention before. This is a 9-hole, whereas the 2017s have a modern, which is even more weight relieved. Also, the 2017 compared to the 2016 here does not come with the poker chip. Okay, 2016 still do, but don't have the pick guard, and the 2017s don't have either. It comes included if you want to drill into guitar. You know, this is of course a fantastic debate because you can have, 5,000 comments if you post something like, hey, should it have the pick guard or not? And you know, there's people like me who think that a top like this should not be hidden. Of course, you know, if you put it there, it does of course give it that beautiful classic Gibson look. I personally wouldn't mind if it was drilled in. I would take it off. Again, I don't mind the holes. I think it's ridiculous, but then again, I love my guitars beat up and used and worn. They're meant to be played. If you have a guitar like this that's 5-year-old and still looks like this, you ain't playing it enough. It should have character wear on there. There's obviously no chance on God's green earth that I'm gonna take this and drill into this body. That just ain't gonna happen. I just couldn't get myself to do it. If I wanted to do that, I would just buy a traditional and be done with it. Poker chip, of course, also very subjective. Some people love the way that it comes without. Now, on the 2017, the 2016 still has it. Burst Bucker Pros, oh boy. They're great pickups, my least favorite of any of the pickups that the Les Paul ship with. I have a 50s Tribute, which is, a lower price guitar, $800, $900, and it comes with 490s, 498. My favorite, hands down, are the 57s, and then of course the PAFs in the reissue series. Of all the pickups, these are, generally speaking, of course this is very subjective, are considered by most people the least favorite. However, please don't misunderstand, that does not mean they're bad pickups. They're just, there's something about them, I guess, that either you love them or you hate them, and hence why I have another standard on the way, because I want to put more vintage pickups in there. You have the Coil Splits right here, which is super interesting. Here, depending of course if you're on the neck or bridge pickup, this will split the Burst Bucker Pros into single coils. I have to say, surprisingly, it sounds amazing. Not so much on the gain channels, but on the clean channels, it really, really does. And then you have a phase inverter here, which is really badass. When you are on both and you're on single coil, you can invert. It's really, really, really cool. It's one of those things you just have to go to the store and plug it in. And then here you have a complete bypass, so you get the full output of the pickups. I can tell you that one of the most astonishing things of this guitar is how diverse it is and how many tones you can get out of it. And if you never owned the standard or you haven't owned one for a long time, you're really going to be truly impressed with just how great this instrument sounds and how many different tones you can get out of it. Honeyburst finish, and one of the most interesting things about this flame top, especially with Honeyburst, is how different it looks under light. So watch this, and I'm about to put flash on it, and you're gonna be amazed how different it looks under flash. Bam. I mean, what a contrast. It's so different now that the light is shining on it. It almost looks like it has like a lemon bursty, transamber kind of finish to it, and it is so different with light on it. Back up a little bit. I mean, it's completely different once you shine some light on it. This top happens, of course, to be, it's considered a AAA. I think this is a quadruple A, whatever you want to call it, but it just looks stunning. We're now looking at the back of the guitar. gorgeous wood selection. This is a slim neck, okay, like a 60s style. Obviously the 58 style has the thickest, 59 something a little bit in between, and the 60s or standard, I should say, is kind of like mimics the 60s neck. It is a compound radius and it is quarter sawn, which means that it's cut diagonally into the wood, which gives you the strongest quality or the strongest part of the wood. You do have locking tuners, which is really cool. Makes it very easy to change strings, and most importantly, there's a one-piece neck, so you don't have the glued on here, which makes it obviously more high-end and long-term longevity. It should give you more longevity out of it. Now, it does have these ears here because they cut it slim and then add the ears on the side, which kind of, I get it, they want to save wood and cost. It'd be just nice if it was a one piece all around, but of course that's a very minor detail. I'm going vertical now so I can show you a little bit more of the guitar within the frame. This is a maple top with a mahogany back, and these guitars are not necessarily thin and lightweight. This one is almost pushing 9 pounds, and mind you, this is with the weight relief. What's beautiful now that Gibson is doing again, that they stopped doing, is the binding. They're doing it like they used to do back in the day now, over the rounded frets. And the quality on this particular piece is astounding. It has this really dark rosewood, which for 2016 they changed and made it thicker, believe it or not. It feels unbelievable. The quality of the frets is fantastic, and you can see that the binding now is back to being over the frets, over the rounded frets. This requires much more handwork, takes longer, and of course makes the guitar more exclusive, if you will. Overall, the quality on this is really unbelievable. Now, you can say you would expect that from a guitar that initially was $3,000 with tax if you buy it list, but the reality is what's really amazing is the fact that these guys, I don't know, built 5 billion guitars a year, and that they can keep the quality this high. I'm going to turn it around here, and you're going to see this beautiful mahogany back. The high performance models have this shaved off, so you have a little bit more access. However, personally, I don't care for them. This is about as modern as I'm going to get, and if anything, I will go more traditional on the Les Paul. If you want more modern, personally, between a high performance, I'd rather go PRS or just a different guitar altogether. You can also see the finishing here. The quality of the set and neck is just absolutely perfect. And mind you, this is a high volume production guitar. This isn't, you know, a product that's built in lower numbers. You do have the cap here, which some people, you know, they have different opinions about it. And still to this day, it's kind of unique to me how this binding ends here. I wish they would kind of continue, but again, those are of course very subjective opinions. And then just this stunning top. Of course, your pickup selector with the neck bridge. And then here again, I'll show it. You can pull this, or actually it's out now. Now it's in, it goes out, and of course splits the coil, phase inverter, and then of course the bypass. The quality of the instrument is absolutely stunning. Even here, if you look at the finishing, it's truly a remarkable job that they're doing when you consider how much output this company has per month, per week, per year. You can go on YouTube and watch one of those factory tours. So for 2016 and 17, they made this a little bit thicker, and I think a few years back, or I should say maybe after 15, they started going back to putting the binding on the rounded edges. And maybe you know better than me, and you can put some comments in, but it is truly an amazing job that they did on it. The binding does go all the way around. On the standard, it is just on the front, and then of course if you have a Les Paul Custom or a CS or some other custom shops, the binding is on both sides. So just a beautiful axe overall. All right, enough talk. I know I talk too much. Let's actually see what this damn thing sounds like, because it sounds great. Now what I'm gonna do, just a few side notes. If you don't know, I use the 4 cable method, Boss GD100 straight into the Marshall. It's all Marshall you're gonna hear. The only thing that comes from the pedal is a little bit of delay, maybe reverb, or maybe later a little bit of gain. I'm not gonna direct link the mic because the reality is, whether you hear it from the phone or from the mic, it's still not gonna sound the same as if you go play it in the store or whatever amp you have or however you process the signal. But rather, what I want you to understand is how diverse this guitar is. So your ear can pick up the difference in all the sonics available. For example, if you look at the neck pickup here, I mean, and then you push the coil tap. I mean, it's like that's huge. That's like two completely different guitars. I mean, listen to this. It's insane how diverse the standard now is. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna, get rid of my ugly face and zoom in on the guitar. And the first thing we're gonna do is stay with the clean channels, and we're gonna do some shameless promotion here and use one of my blues loops I'm working on for my little Passion album, instrumental guitar album that comes out later in 2017. But what I'm going to do on purpose is I'm gonna split the coils and work through every setting there is, and then push the full humbuckers in, and again work through all the pickups, and also use the phase inversion. Also, I'm gonna purposely stay within a certain box and purposely play repetitive things so you can really hear the sonic differences, because if I play here and there and all over the place, it's going to become more about the playing than really about understanding how diverse this guitar is and what it has to offer sonically and sound-wise. So I'm just gonna, I think the song is in C sharp or something like that. I'm just gonna stay within the pentatonic scale and play as repetitive as I can, and hopefully it gives you an idea of what this guitar can do. Then after that we'll go into distortion, and most likely I'll just stick with what I love the most, some Gary Moore, and we'll pick something and have some fun with that. So let's check it out. All right, here we are, and I'm gonna start on the Coil Splits with the volume about 2 and 8. And we'll start on the bridge and work our way up and just kind of go through different settings. I'm going to over exaggerate how I pull or push, so you can kind of see it. Again, I'll try to stay in the same repetitive lick, so you can really kind of get the difference of the diversity, because there's a lot to it. I mean, listen just to the bridge pickup here. I mean, this guitar is probably one of the most versatile guitars out there. So, but just see how it sounds with some music. So forgive me, that wasn't the most musical thing, but I hope it gave you an idea of the diversity. And I mean, just the different sounds made me look 10 times better than I really am, just because of how much different sonic diversities this guitar has. And I hope this kind of gave you an idea. Now we're going to go to distortion, actually do something musical. Let's stick with Gary Moore. We did Still Got the Blues last time. Let's do Parisian Walkways. On this one, I'm not really going to do the single coils. It doesn't, you know, to me, I want the raw thing. And again, you know, these are not my most favorite pickups in the world. If I have one standard, I'll keep it. But, you know, now that I have two, one has to be exchanged. And, you know, I love these pickups. They're great, but they're, even though they're great, they're my least favorite of all the Les Pauls. Now, that's like saying you own 3 Lamborghinis and Aston Martin. Your Aston Martin is going to be your least favorite, but it's still an Aston Martin, okay? But again, please, that's just my personal opinion. And again, you know, if you're blessed, you know, to own like a reissue, or let alone like a real older version that has those vintage PAF sounds, PAF stands for patent applied for, then of course it's very hard to kind of get into these modern day pickups, you know, and I think, again, for me personally, I guess these pickups don't really know what they're trying to be. Whether they're trying to be modern, hard rock, metalish yet vintage-ish. So, you know, my reissue is not confused what it is. My classic, the 57s on there, they're not confused what they are. And the 490 and 498 in my, in the cheapest one above all, you know, in my 50s tribute, they're not confused what they are. I feel like that the Bursbucker Pros kind of don't really know what their identity is. And of course, again, that's just me. So before you go into the comments and start bashing me, just remember I'm just, you know, talking from the heart. But I'll tell you one thing, they sure as hell don't sound bad on distortion. So let's check it out. that wasn't too embarrassing. It kind of sounded like it, but you know, there's something about when you play Gary Moore and a Les Paul, at some point you just don't give a shit what it sounds like anymore. You're just so in the fun zone of connecting that, you know, sloppy or not, you're just somewhere else. And I think all of you can relate if you're a guitar player. This was obviously just bridge and neck pickup, because you know, in Distortion I pretty much would rarely even do anything else. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of the idea of what this Les Paul sounds like with a lot of gain. Well, when I say a lot of gain, just Marshall and Boss, there's a little bit delay, but I hope you can kind of tell what I was talking about, the pickups, you know what I mean? And even I sometimes get a little bit confused. Okay, where am I going with that particular gain output that they have, because they just they sound really, really badass, but just kind of, you know, that identity is a little bit missing. When you play the classic, and go to the store and check them both out, when you play the classic, you're going to notice right away that the 57 and the 57 Plus are not confused about what they are, whereas the burst buckers to me are a little bit. That being said, they still sound badass. And in closing, all I can tell you is this is probably one of the greatest instruments out there. If you're, listen, if you're a Les Paul junkie like I am now, one isn't going to do. You're going to have a classic, a reissue. You're going to have a standard. You're going to have a traditional, which is probably the next thing. You know, what can I sell to get a traditional now? So I'll be soon doing a review on the reissue, and I hope at least this gives you an idea, if you are in the market for one of those, what they will be like, you know, at home owning them. And if I went to an island and I could only bring one Les Paul with me, and let's say I didn't own my reissue, I would probably take my classic, and this will be close second. Yet this, technically speaking, is a better instrument, but again, it all comes down to taste. The classic, unless you get the Plus, you can't get a beautiful top like this. But if you kind of have experience, or a little bit experience with Les Pauls, then this maybe slightly modified might just be the best all-around instrument in the world to me. And I have a feeling that once I get my other standard and I put some vintage style pickups in it, that just might end up being probably my all-time favorite instrument that I've ever owned, because you know, a reissue or any instrument that's that expensive, you're probably not really going to take out gigging, or not often, whereas this is a true workman's a working musician guitar. And again, for under $2,000, I just do not know of anything that comes close to this. And I say this as someone that used to, you know, that owns an M4, that owns a Strat, that likes signature models as well. You know, I played Ibanez in the past and all those things, but if I had to choose between a $1,900 Ibanez and this, do not be confused for 1 second. And I'll say flat out, in my opinion, which one is a better guitar and better build. And that's nothing against, in any way, shape, or form, against Ibanez, fantastic guitars. I'm just saying, to me personally, to own a Les Paul of this caliber and a guitar of this caliber for that kind of price range, to me is just ridiculous. So I hope this helps a little bit. You know, just a lovely instrument, and go to the store, check one out, plug it in, plug them all in. They're all fantastic, and the quality is back to just being top notch. They look beautiful, they feel beautiful, but above all, beginner, pro, intermediate, whatever you are, throw on some Gary Moore backing track and just, you know, forget the world and don't give a damn what anyone thinks. All the best, and thank you so much for watching, and appreciate all your feedback, and see you soon.